All right. I know. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but I was beat yesterday, so I might as well just get started right now. So, hey, man, we already know what's going on with TKO right now. They're getting a lot of backlash, so that's why we got CJAX here. Let's go.
We are witnessing the worst era of WWE in the history of the company, okay? I know people are going to be like, 2018, 2019, Vince McMahon, yeet, yeet, yeet. I'm a yeeting, guys. Cody Rhodes. Stop.
What'd he say?
Stop! This is the worst era of wrestling that we have seen from WWE, and you know that. The fan reactions are telling you that every single week. How many weeks have people been complaining about, oh, well, the crowd here in Tulsa is dead, or the crowd here in Wyoming is dead, or the crowd here in Illinois is dead, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Wherever the crowd is. Chicago has a great crowd, by the way, but you get the point, okay? Everyone's complaining about the crowds. The fans themselves are chanting, we want truth. We want our truth. We want truth. You know? It's as simple as that. The fans are becoming disenfranchised with this product. After every Raw, every SmackDown, every PLE, you have fans in the IWC, wherever the heck you can find anyone at this point, are all upset with the current product. There are obviously always going to be Triple H and WWE meat riders, you know what I'm saying, the WWE carnivores that are always on the prowl, you know what I'm saying, glazing WWE for every little thing that they do and single thing that Triple H is doing. But this product is not good, and anyone who's been watching consistently should understand this thing. You know, in 2019, people call it so bad. At least we had a good WrestleMania that year, in my personal opinion. It was a solid to good Mania. What did we get this year for WrestleMania? We got John Cena and Cody Rhodes in the main event, one of the worst main events ever at WrestleMania. You get what I'm saying? Look at the ring mat nowadays. The ring mat has a big Slim Jim poster plastered right in the middle of the mat. What am I looking at? Just all about ads and sponsorships. Look at the ring mats on PLEs, on SmackDowns, on Raws. It's getting unbearable. The viewership started out at 6 million globally for Raw on Netflix, and within 5 weeks it was already struggling to get 2.8 million views, and it still is struggling to get 2.7 to 2.8 million views globally. Remember Triple H was saying, now we're going to open up to a worldwide audience, man. This is going to be special. It's going to be huge. Yeah, it was huge for 1 week, and now look at you. Look at you now. You know what I'm saying? Mama Oates. And now look at you. Look at you now. You know what I'm saying? Mama Oates. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting embarrassing at this point, man. In 2019, if they move Raw to Netflix and it had like 5 million views to start and then was struggling to get 2 million after about like 4 or 5 weeks, everyone would unanimously call the product garbage. But now all of a sudden we have to unanimously, or not unanimously, but a lot of fans are still pretending like this product is good or is decent. It's not decent. It is awful. It is absolutely awful. There's no effort. What has been good all year? Remember after Mania 40 when Triple H was promising us, he's like, welcome to the new era, the Renaissance era, the Polavec era, the gamer, Fina. Like, what are you doing? What has been good or new about this era? Every single week, Raw and SmackDown ends the same way. How many times have we seen Seth Rollins will come out with his faction and start to show off and cut a promo? They'll then be interrupted by Sami Zayn, Punk, or Jey Uso. Then later that night, it'll end in a brawl between Rollins' faction and one of them, or all three, Punk, Jey Uso, and Sami combined. Or the following week, you'll have Sami come out and cut his promo first. Then later in the night, he'll brawl with Rollins' faction. Or we'll start off with Punk like we did yesterday. Punk will come out and start to show off with a promo, and by the end of the night, it ends in a brawl again with Rollins' faction. It is the same episode on repeat. There is zero creativity. The through line and the mainline story of Seth Rollins and his faction has failed because it makes no sense and it's garbage. And he's not a top guy who can elevate an entire mainstream story, main level story in the company and elevate, an entire brand like Roman Reigns did for the last 4 or 5 years. You get what I'm saying? Seth Rollins doesn't have the ability to do that. That's why this story is tanking and no one really cares about it. Brunson Reed came out last night to no pop and they fade into Braun Breaker's theme. No one pops. They just bark for 2 seconds and then he walks to the ring and that's it. Because there's no star power. Even John Cena, Roman Reigns, all these people, they don't show up. They don't. This is a John Cena retirement tour, and we're supposed to be okay with John Cena showing up for a 10-minute promo at the end of a 3-hour SmackDown once every 2 or 3 weeks, and then showing up on a PLE and winning the match predictably? That's what we're supposed to be excited for in the John Cena retirement tour? There has been no elite level PLE since WrestleMania 40. It's the facts. When is the last time you actually sat back and watched an episode of Raw, SmackDown, or a PLE and felt that gravitas, that big fight feel, how excited you were to get into the next PLE and to see the next Raw, the next SmackDown? You know what I'm saying? You couldn't miss SmackDown or Raw on the build to Mania 40 because you had Rock, you had Roman, you had Rollins was the world champion, you had Drew McIntyre there consistently, you know? I can't stop thinking about Punk. You know what I'm saying? We wish my boy Drew McIntyre a speedy recovery from his injury. Anyways, we also had Cody Dr. Libations was showing up. You get what I'm saying? And he wasn't cutting these lame promos talking about libations and how much he respects you. He loves you. He was going at Roman, or trying to go at Roman at least, you know what I'm saying? Trying to go at The Rock. This is the type of content that builds an intriguing and interesting Mania build that ultimately ended in a phenomenal main event for both nights, to be honest with you. You get me? What PLE since Mania 40 has felt like that? A big gravitas. You can't miss Raw and SmackDown week to week. You're excited to see the matches on the card. You're excited to see the stories unfold. You haven't felt like that probably since Mania 40. It's as simple as that. We're way past the point of, oh, well, you know, on Raw SmackDown, we had one good match. We had some good wrestling, man. We had a good match here, man. D-lister Black fought Carmelo Hayes, man. The Miz, he fought against Jefferson Cobb. Like, no one wants to see that. I don't give a crap about Jefferson Cobbathan going out there and jobbing out R-Truth, you know? R-Truth and Braun Strowman, you know, Dakota Kai, etc. All the releases that people are upset about. Really? This is the type of product we get, and Triple H takes zero accountability for it. All the people who have been released, the major ones, you know, pretty much actually everyone in general, has all reported the same info, that there's no transparency from Triple H. He doesn't call them, he doesn't let them know. Just someone on the WWE team calls them and lets them know, hey, we're relieving you of your duties. This isn't a leader. All the title reigns in the last year have just sucked. They've all sucked. You know, Cody Rhodes' championship reign was awful. Gunther's title reign was awful. Rhea Ripley's championship reign to start the year was just bad. You know, Liv Morgan's title reign was all predicated on Rhea and Dominic Mysterio, so that title reign was basically a forgetful wash. You know what I'm saying? So,
You know, I always wonder what her title reign would have looked like if Dom wasn't involved and she just had Raquel. Always wonder.
Nia Jax had a bad WWE Women's Championship reign, you know? The tag team division has been dead for a minute now in both divisions. So what do you have? What do you seriously have? What has been good all year? I say this before and I'll say it again. If you missed every single episode of Raw and SmackDown this year and only tuned into the PLEs, what would you have missed this year? Seriously, ask yourself that question. What would you have genuinely missed? Maybe what? A few segments here and there that were good in a 6-month span? We're halfway through the year and all you can say that you would miss on the weekly shows is a few good segments from guys like Roman or Cena maybe, and that's it? That's all you got that you can miss? You know, that's unbearable. We should have consistently good to great Raws and SmackDowns at least 2 to 3 times a month. Minimum. If you tell me this is the greatest the roster's ever been, and WWE is the best it's ever been, it's the hottest it's ever been, etc., if you say those things, why are we not seeing it in the actual product? Why are we getting told to us how great everything is, but we're not seeing evidence of it at all? Cody Rhodes returns after 5 or 6 weeks and goes on SmackDown and cuts a nothing burger promo where he literally says nothing. He says nothing. Hey guys, I thought about my place after I lost my championship. I didn't know what to do with myself, but I have respect for you. I have love for you. I have appreciation for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? I don't give a crap about this, man. Why would anybody be excited for a Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes team-up match versus Logan Paul and John Cena? This is all stupid, man. Everything is about ads and sponsorships and commercials and bad booking. There is zero creativity. Do you remember in the build to WrestleMania 40 where Rock, who is one of the most he's a lot busier than he's a lot busier than 100% of the WWE roster, yet he was showing up more than most of the roster. He was also cutting his Instagram promos every single week leading up to Mania, cutting 15 to 20 minute promos before he'd show up on SmackDown or Raw, just bashing people, bashing Cody Rhodes, bashing Mama Rhodes, bashing Seth Rollins, bashing, you know what I'm saying, bashing whoever he wanted to and doing whatever he wanted to, talking about whatever he wanted to. That is how you actually command people as a legitimate star. You want to build stars, develop yourself outside of WWE, you know what I'm saying, when in terms of like not on the shows, develop yourself on social media. Everyone's watching a TikTok or a YouTube short or an IG reel or a Twitter something, whatever, you know, everyone's watching social media at some point, so go on social media and get yourself over. There's no effort by this roster. I'm tired tired of hearing how great this roster is. No one's doing anything. No one's doing anything. The only reason, for example, that we had Rollins and Punk main eventing night one is because Roman Reigns was in that match. If Roman Reigns was not in that match, you would get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, which we had already seen on Raw twice. It's a Raw match. Roman Reigns is the one that makes it feel like a main event. John Cena is the one who makes Cody Rhodes and versus John Cena at Mania feel like a match that should be main eventing a show. That is how it works. No one else is actually going to get you in a main event. Imagine your main event being Cody Rhodes versus like LA Knight for the WWE Championship. I like LA Knight, but come on, man. Imagine your night one main event being Seth Rollins versus CM Punk part 58. Really? That's the best you got? Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the world title? Just imagine that, because that's in the near future. When John Cena and Roman Reigns retire, which they're already semi-retired now because they're showing up once a month, if that. You know, I mean, like, once they're completely away from the product, like Roman Reigns said he's done by 2027, he's going to pursue, you know, acting in Hollywood full force, so he may show up maybe like 5 times a year max, even though he kind of already does, but you get the point. He's going to be even more of a part-timer. He might just retire in general, you know? Once they leave, what do you have? Dr. Libations cutting a 15-minute I respect you promo? That's all you got? Drew McIntyre getting booked into oblivion? LA Knight's going to be on his way out because he's in his older years. CM Punk, same thing. What are you going to have to watch? Seriously, answer. Somebody in the comments, answer that question for me if you can. I'm genuinely curious. You're going to have nothing to watch. You're going to have nothing to look forward to, and you are going to be disappointed. That is how this is going to design itself. That's how it's going to work. And we already know this. And another reason why this is the worst era of WWE ever, in my personal opinion, you don't understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of factual at this point, but it's still, anyways, doesn't matter, right? The point is this. This era of WWE sucks for these two big reasons as well we have to discuss. Number one, the roster back then was simply better. You had like 30 Hall of Famers walking around backstage. You get what I'm saying? Like, these people were just super talented. You had Cena, Orton, Taker, Hunter, you know what I'm saying? You had Shawn Michaels, you know what I mean? You had Batista, you had The Miz, who was a solid mid-carder back in the day, you know what I'm saying? You had John Morrison and Dolph Ziggler putting on great undercard / mid-card matches always. Chris Jericho was there. You had CM Punk in his prime. You had you know what I'm saying? Like, it goes on and on and on. Jeff Hardy was in the mix, etc. There is no way that this current roster of jobbers filling up the TV times every single week are the ones that we're considering the quote-unquote best roster WWE has ever had. You know this is a sham. These guys stink compared to the other rosters, man. There's no talent. There's no big fight feel. There's no gravitas. And back then, everybody was wearing all kinds of merch. I would go into school. Granted, I was really young, you know what I'm saying, when this was happening, but people were wearing WWE shirts. You know, I had teachers who were wearing WWE shirts and talking about the weekly pay-per-views and stuff like that. No one does that anymore. Why the heck would anyone want to talk about Backlash? Really? Why would anybody want to talk about, oh, we have Night of Champions coming up. We're going to have John Cena. He's going to be fighting against Jey Uso. Like, no one cares. What? Nobody talks about this garbage. You understand what I'm saying? So you have that.
All right, so I got a video from Lesko Yasko, and he's going to talk about what's going on with Rikishi and his son and how he feels about the match this Saturday with Logan Paul and John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Rikishi just went off on his Off the Top podcast, and he's not feeling this tag match with Jey Uso at Money in the Bank at all. Here's exactly what he said. Jay is a world heavyweight champion by himself, okay? They really need a fire creative service over there. Just book me so I can book my son's matches. And then he got real about the Logan Paul feud. Rikishi said he was cool with it at first, but he said he wouldn't have had Jay beat Logan right off the bat. He would have waited, done it in a cage or a gimmick match to really sell the story. He even said that Logan versus Jay is Logan's biggest spotlight since he made it to WWE. And now after that match, you go straight into a tag match? It just doesn't make sense. That's not just criticism. That's a father and a Hall of Famer who knows how big Jay could be if he was actually booked right. And honestly, he's not wrong about some of the things he said.
See, even Hall of Famers are speaking about it, and this is a fodder of Jay. So I don't know, man. Triple H is doing wrong with these bookings, man, and these releases, and there's going to be plenty of more, which is going to lead to my next video where we got more releases on the way, and I don't know who the names are going to be, but they're coming. Let's look at it.
Concerning news for the WWE roster today, as reports suggest more talent releases could be on the horizon. Brian Alvarez, speaking on today's Wrestling Observer Live, indicated that the recent departure of Sarah Logan, also known as Valhalla, might not be an isolated incident. Logan's contract with WWE recently expired, and she confirmed her departure with an emotional social media statement, noting she's looking forward to pursuing other ventures as Sarah Logan. This news follows the recent departures of veterans R-Truth and Carlito from the company. It was in this context that Alvarez stated, quote, "I've been told that there might be others as well, so this might not be the end with Valhalla being released." This has understandably sparked concern and speculation among the wrestling community. There is no word on who else might be let go. The releases are not totally unexpected, because the company continues to bring in new talent into their developmental system. Between NXT, Evolve, and the main roster, WWE has more talent under contract than ever before. Unfortunately, that means that the talent that is not being used much is at risk of being let go. The company will also likely look to cut some of their mid-card talent that are signed to big money contracts.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the ones I just circled is probably going to be the ones on the list. But they might not release Raquel right away. I'm hoping that they'll have a storyline with her portraying Liv Morgan, and then they could start a feud to where they can lead to lead to a story where they can have Raquel, they could set up Raquel's last match where she scores a big win against Liv Morgan, and if they let her go then it's whatever. But I would rather for her to still go after the Intercontinental title and win that belt, and then after they, do that she can hold on to the belt for like at least 2 months, and then if they want to let her go then that's fine, but at least she got her first mid-card title, or say first singles title. So I'm hoping they could still do that, but I could be wrong, but still set up a feud where Liv and Raquel are getting into it, Yeah, set up that feud, please. If not, no, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You just gotta do it. I just don't want Raquel teaming up with Roxanne. I would rather for, Raquel to, me personally, I would rather for Raquel to go on her own. But we just have to wait and see. But the ones I just circled is probably going to be the ones that's going to be released. And then it's just going to be down to 3 people. But damn, I hope I'm wrong. And I forgot to mention, I know some people are going to come and say, whoa, she's a tag team champion, they're not going to let her go. I'm talking about when the tag team belts is off of her. That's what I'm talking about. But we'll have to wait and see. I wish I didn't have to wait, but damn.
Then the other reason we have to discuss, Vince McMahon is better than Triple H at booking, and it's indisputable. I understand that the last 5 to 8 years of Vince McMahon's booking was just garbage. You know what I'm saying? In the totality, there were still some very good moments throughout, and I appreciate those moments. But there was also some really bad booking and stuff like that as well. The last 5 to 10 years of him, having his job as the head creator of WWE. But the fact is that Vince McMahon still gave us 3+ to 4+ decades of great professional wrestling content more times than he didn't. And he built wrestling as we know it to what it is today. So without him, we wouldn't have the wrestling that we have now. And with Triple H, we will have as bad as we have right now. So Vince McMahon understood how to actually build stars. Triple H is not building any new stars. I talked about how there's no stars, there's no big gravitas feeling people anymore besides Roman Reigns, who's obviously the last star in all of wrestling. It's as simple as that. Roman Reigns is a guy, I think he just passed 10 million followers on Instagram. There's only 7 or 8 wrestlers all time who have done that, and all of them are pretty much mainstream people that you could ask someone on the street, hey, have you seen this guy or this girl before? And they'll probably be like, yeah, I've at least heard of him, or I've at least heard of her, or I've seen him or her. You get what I mean? Roman Reigns is probably going to pass that test with at least 60 to 70% of the general population that watches media. It's as simple as that, Roman Reigns is the last guy to actually elevate a SmackDown. He carried SmackDown when he was there with the Bloodline, him and the Usos and Paul Heyman running it up with Solo, and then Sammy Uso coming in. It was great. SmackDown felt must watch. You had intrigue, you had hype, you had gravitas, you had a big type feeling star that was just, it felt like he was unbeatable, but you loved him. You know what I'm saying? He was the heel that you love to hate. He was awesome. Roman Reigns was amazing in the Tribal Chief role. The OTC arc has obviously been watered down and bad in my opinion, but Roman Reigns still has that big star feel. When he shows up, he's the reason why certain things are main eventing, like the Rollins and Punk match at Mania. So it doesn't even really count as a real main event. I mean, honestly, let's be real with ourselves. The only match that matters as the main event is the one that closes the show, which is the last match on the entire card. So that's that, but you get the point.
Okay, I just want to stop the video real quick to let y'all know that Raquel got some new merch for the summer, dog. and it's black and gold. It's going down for real. Now, the price is not right, but hey, the shipping is free with the code on the bottom. So you already know, if you got an extra 40, go ahead and cop this merch, because this merch is on fire. And this girl is on fire. Raquel is off the scale with this merch, dog. And also the link is going to be on the bio, so you already know. Let's get back to the video. Raquelio!
Like, you have all of these shows week to week. You have your Raw, your SmackDown, your NXT. You have the PLEs happening like basically every weekday near at this point. That's another problem. That's another reason why this era sucks. This era not only has no stars, has incredibly boring shows week to week, and obviously, you know, when you look at the ring mat and you just see the, you know, the releases and everything, you can tell that TKO is playing a bad role in this as well, along with Triple H having zero effort or creativity in his booking. The other problem is this. Why in the world are their shows week to week so lifeless and meaningless and so bad? It's the same thing every week. And why in the world would anybody actually want to sit here and call any of this stuff great? And you know why? Because no one's calling it great. No one is calling this stuff great at all. At least, you know, the most people aren't. The Glazers and meat munchers are. You know what I'm saying? The WWE carnivores are. But other than that, there's nothing else to glaze this product for. We've never been in an era where you genuinely, every single week on Raw or SmackDown, you will genuinely, you remember back in the day, right, when Vince was booking, you had a situation where you would get a situation where it's like this, right? John Morrison or Dolph Ziggler, for example, would wrestle each other like 1 or 2 times on Raw, and then they'd have a mid-card match on a PLE or something like that, and it would be an absolute banger. Or Jeff Hardy would wrestle someone a couple times on SmackDown or something like that, and then eventually you would have a match on a PLE, like Jeff Hardy versus Punk for the world title or some stuff like that. And then the feud would be over. Now, you get the same recurring matches every single week for like 8 weeks straight on Raws and SmackDowns, and then and it culminates in some random undercard or mid-card match on a 5-match card PLE. That is what we get. That shows you the signs of multiple reasons, for multiple things, first of all. Number one, it shows you a lack of effort from the creative team, which is obviously Triple H's fault. He cannot book things correctly. I don't know what this idea is that Triple H is some amazing long-term booker. Triple H is a jobber. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's not booking anything great. He's a jobber. So I don't know why in the world we would actually have a reasoning to sit here and say that this stuff is good. You get the same Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Bums, DIY versus Street Profits versus Fraxium, Fraxium versus Street Profits, Fraxium versus Motor City Machine Guns. It's the same collection of the same 4 or 5 tag teams fighting on repeat for the last 5 months. Why in the world is everything so redundant? How many of the same type of Judgment Day segments did we get for the last like 8 months?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this storyline should have been over. You know what I'm saying? Like, once Liv Morgan lost the women's world title, that's when Dom and Liv should have broken up right there. Okay, Liv should not be helping them outside of the ring. They should have just kept it moving. But it didn't come to that, did it? Like, ever since Dom helped her get the tag team belts, she completely forgot about her mission. And that mission was to get the gold. She went from being a gold digger to a goddamn dick sucker for Dom. She don't care about Raquel. She don't care about the Judgment Day. All she care about is getting publicity, getting fame, and getting fortune. And you wonder why that stalker came out of nowhere, because obviously that stalker is going after Liv Morgan because he probably is tired of the Dom shit. So he probably looking like, hey, wait, Liv, I could save you from Dom. And Liv is like, don't save me. I don't want to be saved. Don't save me. I don't want to be saved. Don't save me. I don't want to be saved. Don't save me. I don't want to be saved. Next thing you know, he just like, he trying to, continue to say that. And then next thing you know, she's like, I'm calling the feds. Next thing you know, he's locked up. So it's like, I don't know, man. I think this is just weird to me that they're messing up the story, because the story was supposed to be. It was supposed to be where Dom screw up, Liv Morgan hold him accountable, and then her and Finn set him up. Are they doing that? No. So now that Dom is going to become babyface, the question is, how do we get Liv Morgan to stay heel? Well, the only way we could get her to stay heel is if she let Finn get inside her head. That's the only way to do it. If she starts showing ego, start losing and losing and losing, lose the tag team belts, can't get no title opportunities, That's where the crash outs start to kick in. The ego start to kick in. Once the moment that starts to kick in, that's when Dom is going to start to feel, uncomfortable to the point where he's going to have to go to somebody else. And that somebody else is Roxanne. But the only way he could do that is if he take it slow with Roxanne, because Roxanne's not really into him. She just with him because of Finn. But if he take the moment and the time with her, then most likely we will get a change and we will see a new couple with those two. But the only way we can get it is if Liv Morgan starts showing ego and Raquel starts to, lose amount of respect for Liv Morgan because she starts to see she hasn't been getting her fair share lately as a superstar and as a wrestler. And once all that starts to show, and then you start to show the why Raquel betrayed Liv and why Dom broke up with Liv Morgan, you got to show the why. And once we get the why from those two, I think people will start siding with them. But the only way they will side with them is if you tell your story, right? Dom is not able to tell it because he keeps getting booed, but he hasn't been out there speaking lately. So we got to get a moment of that, and hopefully we can get it. But the only way we can get it is if the crowd start to get used to him, because they were cheering for him at WrestleMania. But are they cheering for him now? I don't know. He hasn't been wrestling. So what do? We have to get him close to Roxanne, but he has to take his time. If he take his time, we will get a new storyline with those two, but he has to take his time, and it's going to take time because right now he's stuck with Liv because there's no ego shown. But once the moment that the ego starts showing, then that's when that's when he backs away from her. You know what I mean? Because then now he starts to see that Liv Morgan is getting too rough on the edges. She's starting to show the side of her that she should have shown 6 months ago. And then that's going to, rub Dom the wrong way to the point where he's going to drift apart. When both of them are going to drift apart. And then hopefully, God forbid, if Raquel get released, hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm hoping she'll go after the IC belt, and then her and Liv can start a feud with that belt. You know what I'm saying? But we have to wait because, they talk about more releases. So we have to pray that everybody don't get released before the storyline ends. You feel me? So that's the only thing we hope for, because I'll be damned if they release JD and Finn don't got no backup, and they release Raquel when she didn't get a chance to tell her story. You get what I'm saying? But if that happens, then they're probably going to set it up to where Finn and Dom are going to be, having their one-on-one, but Liv Morgan and Roxanne are, they either got to either be, that would be a good feud right there, where you have Finn and Roxanne team up to go against Liv and Dom, and then, of course, they switch it up to where it's Finn and Liv teaming up to go against Dom and Roxanne. But I think the crowd is definitely going to rock with Dominic and Roxanne because they if Liv Morgan stay as heel and she show her characters, her actual self, then, Dom will most likely have the people side with him because they see that Liv Morgan is no longer this person where she's this lovable person towards Dom. She's now this, egotistic, obsessive, jealous type chick, which I don't see where jealousy comes in, but I think it's mainly because she's jealous of the fact that either she, Dom is talking to Roxanne more, or she's jealous of the fact that Finn is literally trying to, end Liv and Dom, but, over a title. But it's just to me, it's like, Liv, how can you be upset? It's crazy how she went to Io Sky and said that she wants the title, but this whole time she wants the boy. If she wanted the title, she would have gave up the boy and go after it. But she hasn't done that. So with that being said, I'm confused. Everything Liv Morgan's been saying and doing is confusing. It's all really confusing. That's why the writers need to stop playing and reveal the truth. That the truth is that Finn and Liv are, were working together until ego starts to kick in and Dom was in the way. And then once the truth comes out, then that's when, Dom is going to start to realize that Liv Morgan is a fake. And she's been in the past 1 year, she's been literally using Dom for fame and that she really don't love him like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Dom said, you know what? I just need my space right now. I wouldn't be surprised. And then here comes Roxanne. You know what I'm saying? But then again, it's like I would rather for Dom to go to Roxanne than have Roxanne come to him because ain't no telling what Roxanne gonna do. I would rather for Dom to go to Roxanne because if he go to Roxanne, then what he could do is that he could change her to become babyface so that way people can see that Roxanne is not a heel no more. She's a face. And same with Dom. So hopefully they can do that, but we have to wait and see, unfortunately. So, but let's get back to the video.
It is unbearable. It is boring. It is stupid. I'm tired of seeing the War Raiders fight JD McDonald's and Jefferson Cobb jobbing out Jimmy Uso or something like that. This isn't fun. It's not exciting. What is the reason to watch this stuff? In John Cena's retirement tour, he shows up for a 10-minute promo segment at the end of a 3-hour SmackDown in Wyoming. That's the best you have for a retirement tour? You're okay with The Rock being able to make his video. The Rock can make his videos, his Instagram promos, and stuff like that to build the feud and to elevate the storylines. But none of these stars have the audacity to actually, the effort to actually make these feuds interesting by showing up at least on social media to cut their promos or to do anything. It's embarrassing, and everyone knows that. And then another reason why this era sucks is that the championships are essentially meaningless. The tag team championships aren't even worth discussing because they don't matter on either brand, so that doesn't matter. They don't matter in any division or either brand, so nobody cares about that. You have the mid-card belts. No one has actually talked about the U.S. title or the Intercontinental title at all over the last couple of months. I don't even think I've seen it be mentioned. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Lyra versus Becky Part 50. Dominic Mysterio hasn't even fought anyone with that belt, it feels like. Has he even defended it? I don't even think he has. He defended versus Penta at Backlash, and that was it. So he's had one match in 6 weeks since winning the championship, or 6 or 7 weeks. That's what you get. Io Sky won the world title. She's arguably one of, if not the best in-ring performer in the women's division in all of women's wrestling, just in general. And Io Sky is relegated to not doing anything since she won that belt. Literally nothing. She wrestled the night after Mania, and then she's had just backstage segments here and there throughout the last 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, your women's world champion has been featured in 2 backstage segments and hasn't been seen since. That's all you got. And then John Cena, we talked about him. He's a WWE champion. He shows up once a month on SmackDown to cut a 10-minute promo at the end of the show and then get RKO'd or Crossroads and left knocked out in the ring. And that's it. That's all it is. This is an embarrassment. The effort is awful. The world title scene is atrocious. Jey Uso is going to go down as one of the worst world champions of all time. He might be the worst, honestly. He's up there with, the JAX Swaggers and the other people who have been world champion that are really bad and really jobbery, you know what I'm saying? But that's just what it is. This product sucks from top to bottom. All in all, when you really factor everything in, this is easily the worst era of WWE that we've ever seen. The metrics show it, right? They're reporting profit losses and stuff like that over the quarters at TKO. The fan intrigue is down. The fan reactions are very negative right now. The ring mat is filled with ads and sponsors. People are complaining left and right. The releases are absolutely just mind-numbingly stupid for the or at least, in some parts with R-Truth and Braun Strowman and people like that. You have situations where the championship reigns feel meaningless. The championships themselves have zero prestige at this point. Nothing notable or good has happened all year, and you have no star power and no gravitas, and your head of creative, Triple Fraud, is doing no effort and no creativity to give us anything unique or different or give us something to at least talk about. And because of that, we are now in the worst era of WWE ever. I don't want to hear about the new era in the Fiend, in the Renaissance, the Paul Levesque. The Paul Levesque sucks. How about that? So that's all I got to say about this. This is one of the worst eras, if not the worst era in all of WWE's history. Thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.
Bro, I think someone inside WWE is trying to sabotage the company. Because no way a billion-dollar company keeps fumbling this hard by accident. Talent getting released mid-push, storylines dropping dead with zero explanation, backstage chaos leaking every week, and creative, bro, they've been all over the place lately. It feels like somebody inside is trying to destroy the company from within. Because at this point, you can't convince me this many bad decisions happen back to back with no intent. And while WWE burns itself down, if you notice, AEW has been moving very smart, signing the right talent, giving them creative freedom. They're listening to fans, growing their audience slowly but steadily. Meanwhile, WWE keeps burning bridges with talent, partners, and longtime supporters. At this point, it's not just bad business, it's literally sabotage. WWE used to be the dream job, but now I feel like people are going to start looking for the exit. The downfall is here and the crown is slowly slipping. And if they don't correct this very soon, WWE is going to be the one chasing AEW. But I don't know.
Now, I had to play that video just to let y'all know the BS. But however, Maya, I know you're excited right now because you're in NXT. But wait till you get to the main roster. If the bookings is still going the way it's going, I don't know. I mean, if CJAX starts saying that you're a jobber and all that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is what you signed up for. You know what I mean? This is what you signed up for. So, hey, man, we'll see what happens. But damn, they going to be on your ass, girl. Because she just signed a multi-year deal, man. Ain't that something? Now, I'm looking at this tweet, and they said that literally in this list right here is one of the reasons why these people will never go nowhere. But those people might retire. And, of course, they're missing some people like, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, LA Knight, and the Usos, like, obviously, it's kind of like you're just looking at that and it's just like, damn, that's it. So basically, we're gonna have a small amount of roster. It's like WWE starting back over. You know what I mean? Like all the way back to the beginning. Damn. And if it comes to that, man, I don't know who y'all gonna watch, but I'm watching AEW. I'm sorry to say it. The only way I'll watch TNA is if Raquel is there. Or Gigi Dollins is there. Or Cora Jade is there. But right now, they just chilling. But Raquel, she still got to work, But yeah, man. All I can tell y'all is this, man. Weigh your options, man. Weigh your options. You know what I mean? WWE is not the only program to watch. You can watch any other program. You can watch TNA. You can watch anything besides AEW. I'm watching AEW, and it's today. So, but, as far as New Japan or anything, out there, man, just watch it, bro. Like, it's, Ring of Honor, go ahead and get into that, Yeah, there's other options, And don't worry about Maya May. She'll be fine for now until she gets to the main roster, and then that's the biggest test right there. But other than that, all I can say is this. Get ready for tonight. Because tonight, we're going to have a nice big old special at AEW for all my AEW fans. We got a 4-hour special event tonight at 8 at AEW. Ooh, Filter Fest. Ooh, Lord. I can't wait for the tag team match with Tony Storr and Mina and Sky Blue and Julia Hart with Mercedes in the commentary. Hey, we about to go cray-cray. Let's get it. Get it in the comment box and make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And don't forget, AEW is tonight at 8. 4-hour special, y'all. Let's get it.